Hello everyone, this is Zaida Gholami from Agrimetsoft Research Lab, and in today's video I'm going to talk about hypothesis test in Excel. So, if you want to do hypothesis testing, you can use the data tab and then data analysis option. If you cannot see it, first of all, go to File, Options, and in Add-ins, in Manage, click on Go, and then check Analysis Toolpack so that you can follow me in this video. So if you go to Data Analysis, you can see ANOVA, Ftest, and Ttest and Ttest. So they're all different types of hypothesis testing which are used in different cases. I have comprehensive videos about ANOVA, 1-factor, 2-factor, about Ftest, about Ttest, about Ttest, and all these hypothesis testings in Excel. And I do not want to go in details in this video. I just want to I just want to solve 2 examples for Ttest and Ftest, and that's all. So this is a really simple video which I just want to review these types of hypothesis testing in Excel. If you want to know details about ANOVA, about Ttest, about Ftest, etc., go check those videos out in Agrimetsoft Excel playlist in YouTube channel. So you can see I have the Ttest sheet in here. Basically, Ttest is used in order to compare the means of 2 datasets. So in Ttest, you want to know if the 2 samples have significant different means. So if the difference in the average of these 2 samples are meaningful, are significant. So in order to do that, you just need to go to data analysis, and in Ttest, 2 sample assuming equal variances. Okay, so first I should check something out. So I want the variance for sample of the first one and the second one. So they do not have equal variances, so I go for data analysis and Ttest unequal variances. I click on that and the variable 1 range. So I select my variable 1, including the title, also the second one, and I check the labels. Hypothesized mean difference, I do not have any actually. Maybe my hypothesized is 0 because my null hypothesis in here is that they are the same. So the mu's are the same. I explained that further. The alpha level is 5%, which is okay for me. And I want the output range to be in here. I click OK, and you can see the output table is printed for me. Now for the null hypothesis, I want to share some information in here. You know that you have a null hypothesis and an alternative hypothesis. In null hypothesis, what you say in here is that the mu of sample 1 is equal to mu of sample 2. Okay, but in the alternative hypothesis, you assume that mu of sample 1 is not equal to mu of sample 2. This is the two-tailed type of test. But if you want to have a one tail, you will have mu of 1 is either less than mu2 or more than mu2. So this is the one tail. Okay? And this is the two tail. So that's the introduction to hypothesis testing in Excel, and specifically for Ttest, because in here we are testing the averages. So let's get into the output table. So you can see the title is Ttest 2 sample assuming unequal variances, the mean variance, number of observations, or what you have in your observed data. So mean is the simple average of the two samples, sample 1, sample 2. Variances is the simple variance for sample that I have just calculated. You can see the exact same results. And then the observations are equal 25. Hypothesized mean difference, which is 0, so they are equal. I've hypothesized in the null hypothesis that the means are equal. Then you have the degree of freedom. So you have 50 minus 3 to get 47 as the degree of freedom. And then you have the T-statistic. So you have T-statistic and then T-critical for one tail and the T-critical for two tail. So what you mean by that is that you have something like this. Okay, you have the T-critical for two tail, which I'm interested in. For two tail, you have 2.01. Here is minus 2.01, and this is 0. And then the T-statistic is minus 0.16. So it's going to be in here minus 0.1, let's say. Okay, it's obvious that you cannot reject the null hypothesis. So this area of this graph is actually where you cannot reject the null hypothesis in it, and these two areas are where you can reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative one. You know that in this type of test, we are going to collect evidence in order to reject the null hypothesis. So when we say we cannot reject it, it doesn't mean that we accept it. We just cannot reject it. We just do not have enough evidence to reject it. So then let's get into here. You can see you have also p-value. So I have p-value for two tails. I can make decision based on p-value also. So I've made my decision already using T-statistic and T-critical, but I can do it also using the p-value. You know that if the p-value is less than, so if p-value is less than alpha number, in here is 5%, then we can reject the null hypothesis. Is the same situation in here? No. We have p-value more than alpha and a big number. So then we cannot reject the null hypothesis. So that's it for the t-test, and now let's jump into the Ftest. So Ftest is actually a hypothesis testing for variances. So in Ftest, we're interested in variances. We want to know if the variances of the two samples are meaningfully different or not. So I have two classes in here. I have the classes numbers listed in here, and I will go to Data tab, Data Analysis, and Ftest two samples for variances. I click OK, variable 1 range including the labels, variable 2 range including the labels. I check the labels, and alpha level is 5%. It's okay for me, and the output range should be in here. I click OK, and that's the output table. So in here we have outputs for one test. So I have given the explanations in the t-test before. So in here I just want to have a quick analysis. So averages are the simple averages of the two samples, variances also, and we want to see if the variances are significantly different. We can see that they are different. So 28.99 is not equal to 30.62. But the point is that in statistical testing, some people could count these two numbers as equal, and some people might count these two numbers as unequal. So what should we do? In here we need a decision-making procedure. We need a method in order to make decisions precisely. So this is the procedure we need. This is the method we need. This is the statistical hypothesis testing. So we want to see if they are significantly different or not. We have the F statistic and F critical and also p-value. So the simplest way is to actually compare the p-value to alpha. So I have 0.45, and in here I have 5%. Of course, this is bigger than 5%, and in here we are not able to reject the null hypothesis, which is the variances are equal. As I just talked about in here, the difference is that in here we have variances, in here we had means, and in Ftest we have variances. So we are not able to reject the null hypothesis. We assume that the variances are not meaningfully different based on the sample size, etc. So I guess that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something new. I hope you have reviewed the topics in hypothesis testing in Excel. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you want to have more detailed explanations and informations about each of these hypothesis testings, Ttest, Z-test, F-test, etc., ANOVA, one-way, two-way, etc., you can check my other videos in Agrimetsoft YouTube channel. And I will see you in the next videos. Have a good day. Bye.